Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. If you had told me years ago that I would be in this situation, I would have laughed, but here we go. My boyfriend suggested that I get an outside perspective here. I, 26 female, was dating James, male 26, for most of college, and we had plans to get engaged after graduation. 2 months before graduation, I caught him planning to cheat. Nothing physical seemed to have happened yet, but he and another girl were making plans for a weekend that he told me he was going for a quick visit home. Cheating is an instant deal breaker to me, so it was over. Instead of having a fight, I didn't say anything. Just waited till after he left for home, texted him proof that I caught him, and good thing you're single now, have fun. Then blocked him on everything and went for a girls' weekend with friends. James lost his crap and went a month trying to get in contact with me or guilt friends into helping him. The few messages that got through, I trashed without even reading them. After a while, I thought he had finally given up. About a year later, my sister, 24 female, announces she wants to bring her boyfriend home to meet the family. We didn't realize she had a boyfriend, but my parents had a barbecue and told her to bring him. It was James. My parents were stunned, but tried to pull it together. I just left. My sister called and tried to explain later that they had met at a party on campus, and it was no big deal since I broke up with him. I told her I thought she could do better, but she could make her own mistakes. I just wouldn't be spending time around them. She got mad about it because our parents took my side. I didn't get along with my sister at the best of times, so avoiding them wasn't hard except at holidays. My parents caved and let him come to Thanksgiving and Christmas since they seemed serious. James seemed way too invested on getting back on my good side when he was around, and it apparently made my sister jealous because she started acting brattier than normal. This last weekend was a milestone birthday for my mom, and I thought it would be a good chance to introduce them to my boyfriend Todd, 29 male. Mom gave it the okay, and Todd actually made a great impression on the family. James was there with my sister, and he was pissed and left early. My sister called me later and yelled at me for upsetting James and trying to make him jealous to get his attention. I told her that she knew she was getting a cheat when she decided to date my sloppy seconds, and he was no longer my problem. Since then, she's blown up social media venting about it and is refusing to see my parents for the holidays if Todd and I are there. My parents think she's over the top and acting out, but she's on their case so much they want me to try and smooth it over and apologize for calling him sloppy seconds. I think it was an apt description. Edit. Wow, this blew up a lot. After reading the replies and talking with Todd, I'm going to have a conversation with my parents this weekend and set some boundaries. I've reached the end of my patience with my sister, so I'm going no contact with her. Todd and I will be going to his family for Thanksgiving, and we'll have to figure out a plan for Christmas. Maybe Christmas Eve with my parents without my sister and James, then Christmas Day with his parents. It's going to be a hard conversation, but I'm just not willing to put up with the ongoing soap opera anymore. I'll write out a letter for my sister explaining that I need some space from her, and then block her so she can't argue, and I don't have to experience the tantrum. Todd has been really sweet about the whole thing, and I know who I'd rather spend time around if it's going to end up being a pissing match about whose boyfriend can come to family events. Well, if OP's sister's boyfriend is over OP and really into the sister, then OP's relationship should not bother him at all. What exactly was she expecting? That OP would stay single for the rest of her life? OP is simply living her life, and her life now includes her boyfriend, just as OP's sister's life includes her boyfriend. Also, I think he is clearly using OP's sister to try to get at OP, or even get her back, which I don't think will help. Also, OP needs to explain to her adult parents that they should stop caving into their daughter and foisting their responsibilities onto OP's shoulders. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Not the a-hole. You can choose your friends and your boyfriends, but you can't choose your family. Your sister and James are a perfect match for each other. Not the a-hole. It almost appears that James is dating your sister to get back at you, and she is blissfully ignorant of that fact. Not the a-hole. Your sister refuses to accept that not only did she get your cast off, he's also not worth the drama and issues this has brought into the family. If she's angry at you instead of with him because he got jealous, then she's being ridiculous, and apologizing for it isn't going to make her see sense. I feel very stuck on what to do or if I overreacted. I, 24 female, have an older sister, 33 female. I had my sons really young at 15 and 18 with my ex-boyfriend. My sister was already out of the house when I had my youngest, so she didn't do any childcare. Not that I expected her to, just important for context. I'm really lucky to say that my ex is a very involved father, and we have an equal co-parenting schedule we decided out of court for years. We do 1 month on, 1 month off. We live in the same city, so this doesn't affect their schooling, and we've been doing it since we broke up at 18. I understand a month is a long time, but during the time they're away, I still see them by taking them to the park, doing drop-offs, movie dinner night, even sleepovers where they'll stay the night and their dad does the same. So it's not like during that month we're no contact. We also do nightly FaceTimes. I do love that it gives me time to relax and be child-free, hang out with my boyfriend and friends spontaneously, even get to go out of town if I want. I still get to live as a young adult, and so does my ex, which is why we agreed to the schedule at all. It's raised controversy if I mention it to other moms, because they always say they can never go away from their children for so long, and makes me feel like a crappy mom because I have fun during my month off. It's why I don't really mention it often to other moms. Anyways, my older sister just welcomed her first baby last year, and it was amazing. We aren't the closest because of our age gap, but it did bring us closer. Her husband and her separated a few months after his birth, and she's been doing it all alone ever since. With the job market how it is, it took her months to even land an interview, but she got the job. Sadly, childcare in our area is $2,000 a month, and she can't afford it, so either the paternal grandmother or I watch them during the week. Our mom would do it, but she had to return to work last year to pay the bills she can't. Luckily for me, I had my mom to watch the boys when I was underage and when I moved out. But I don't have to worry about childcare since I work from home and my boys are in school now. I don't mind watching my nephew. My sister goes in at 6 and gets off at 2, so it doesn't take up much of my day, and I usually do it 2 or 3 times a week, so it's not too constant. On Thursday, when my sister dropped my nephew off, she had to go downstairs because she forgot his diaper bag and left her purse and phone behind. I live in the 8th floor, so she was gone for around 5 minutes. When she left, her phone rang, and since it was our mom, I answered it to say hello. During the call, I see a notification pop up of someone liking a message my sister sent. It said, "It's crazy how she can watch my son for me, but when it comes to hers, she doesn't care." I could never go to Jamaica to celebrate a man's birthday when I could be with my kids instead. Deadbeat moms are worse than dads. It shocked me so much, I screenshotted it. My boyfriend's birthday is next weekend, and we're going to Jamaica for a week. It's my son's time with their dad. When my sister came back upstairs, I acted normal. She said goodbye and left. I thought about it a lot, and got more pissed off. Why should I be shamed because I don't have to do it alone? How am I comparable to a deadbeat dad like her husband, who hasn't seen their son in months with no contact? Here I am doing her a favor, saving her like $2,000 a month she doesn't have, all to be insulted in a group chat with people I don't know. When she came to get my nephew, I confronted her. At first, she denied it, until I showed her the screenshot. Then she said it was out of context. So I said to show me the full convo then, and she refused. She said sorry, but didn't seem sorry at all. She just wanted to leave. I asked her to explain how I'm a deadbeat. Then she broke down in tears saying that she's a single mom since she receives no help, and I'm barely a mom, so I don't understand how she feels. I told her to leave, and she did. Once she left, I called her and told her I wasn't going to be watching my nephew anymore. I didn't want to tell her in person, because I know she'd try to guilt trip me with even more tears. She sent me over 50 texts when I wouldn't answer her calls, begging me to answer, and that she's so sorry, and this wasn't supposed to happen, and she regrets it. She said she needs me to watch him since his other grandma can't every day, and that if she gets fired, she'll be out of a job again for months and won't be able to afford her bills. I didn't reply. Now my mom and cousins are all blowing up my phone, telling me I'm a huge a-hole and to change my mind and accept her apology. I feel used and disrespected, but also do feel a bit bad, since she does need the childcare. Am I the a-hole? It's horrible that she is bad-mouthing her sister, who is helping her out massively and saving her a huge amount of money to strangers. I understand that OP is hurt and disrespected. She should have thought about the favor OP is doing for her before opening her mouth to shame OP as a mother, and now she has consequences to face and can only blame herself. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Not the a-hole. She's sorry she got caught, not sorry for what she said about you. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Not the a-hole. Your sister should know better than to crap talk the person offering her free childcare. Not to mention her criticism of you is obviously a complete and total lie. How sad that your sister thinks so poorly of you. She absolutely is not entitled to your free labor. You did well by drawing a clear boundary and enforcing it. Actions have consequences, and your sister should have considered the potential consequences of her actions before disrespecting you so callously. Not the a-hole. How dare your sister? Sure, you shouldn't have touched her phone at all, and when we look at things we shouldn't, we sometimes get our feelings hurt, and a phone is tantamount to a diary or journal today. However, it was innocent, and you weren't going through her phone. She has a lot of nerve to talk crap about you behind your back like that, when you have done her such a huge favor. Your agreement with your ex is none of her business, and if it works for you and your kids, she needs to save the judgment. Don't fold. She made this mess, and now she has to deal with it. For some background, my mom left me, 24 male, and my twin sister, 24 female, when we were 6, and it screwed with us for a long time. We used to have to get therapy sessions because the way she left was so jarring for the both of us. 16 years later, sometime after our 22nd birthday, she reached out saying she wanted to make up for lost time and that she was sorry, and I wasn't with that idea, but my sister was. My sister decided to go ahead and give her a second chance, and I never gave her grief on that. But she always hassled me for saying I should hear her out and that she's our mother, and to that I humbly declined. I told my sister that our mother doesn't get to decide when she wants to be in or out of our lives, and that she doesn't get to clear her conscience with me because my time is worth way more. My sister respected that for the most part. Flash forward to now. On my sister's wedding, she told me beforehand that our mom was going to be a part of the wedding, and I didn't make a big deal because it was her wedding, and if she wants that woman to be there, then who am I to say no? I just told her me and her would most definitely not be communicating at the event, and she was okay with that because she knows that that's my way of keeping the peace. At the rehearsal dinner, everyone showed up and had a good time, but my mom kept trying to engage in conversation. I ignored her and tried to keep away from her. My mother then decides to corner me with this victim spiel, saying that she wasn't ready to be a mom at the time, and that she just wants a relationship with me now, and how she didn't understand why I didn't want to talk to her. Now, mind you, I always said I understand that she wasn't ready to be a mom, but that doesn't mean I have to be okay with being abandoned, nor do I owe her the luxury of being forgiven. I told her to leave me alone and respect that I didn't want to get to know her or be in her life. She started crying and making a whole scene, and said she couldn't come to the wedding anymore. My sister is saying that I ruined her chance to have her mom at her wedding, and that I couldn't put my petty pride aside for her. All I could tell her is that her mom made the decision not to show up for her. That has nothing to do with me. The wedding isn't about me. So am I the a-hole here? Well, OP's mother showed once again that she's still not ready to be a mother because she puts her feelings first without thinking about her daughter and how it will affect her for her not being at her wedding. I guess it proved to OP again that she doesn't deserve to be forgiven, and it's better not to let her back in OP's life, as she will hurt OP again. She can't be too sorry for abandoning them both if she's willing to let OP's sister down on her wedding day. And now let's hear the community's opinion. She's still choosing herself over you and or your sister. If she really cared about you and your feelings, and your sister's, she would have allowed you the space to come to her on your own, and she would have attended the wedding. But she had to show her true colors. That it's always been about what she wants. I'm sorry for that. I hope you had a good childhood despite her. Absolutely not the a-hole. Your mother has some nerve, and you are right. She has yet again abandoned your sister. You did nothing wrong, and don't owe that woman anything. I'm sorry for your sister, but she's mad at the wrong person. I'm not sure what your mother's problem is here. Ghosting your children for 16 years and then being forgiven by 1 out of 2 is a huge win. That could very easily and justifiably been 0 out of 2, not the a-hole. I have 2 stepsons, 27 male and 30 male. Their father and I have been married for 10 years and maintain largely separate finances. I also have 2 biological children, 20 female and 23 male. My husband is in management and I'm an RN. We make similar salaries. We generally each buy for our own children, pay for our own children for dinners out, etc. I'm very close to my older stepson. In fact, he calls me mom, and I refer to him as my son. He's married to an amazing woman who I have a similar relationship with. Her mom died when she was 12, and she spent the rest of her childhood bouncing from one relative to another. I love them both. When older stepson got married, they paid for their own wedding. Daughter-in-law is a bigger girl, not used to wearing dresses. She had several tearful appointments, which I was invited to, where she hated everything she tried on. I got the seamstress who sewed pageant dresses for my daughter to come to an appointment with us. She was able to point us towards a different style of dress, corset, which was much more flattering, and ended up sewing a beautiful dress and shawl, making a veil and matching bouquet that was over their budget, but I paid the difference. I also paid the difference between the cake they could afford and the one daughter-in-law wanted. Guess how I knew, right? Because she invited me to the cake tasting. I also paid something towards catering because daughter-in-law had her heart set on chocolate-covered strawberries, and they weren't available with the cheapest packages. Again, I went with her to meet with the caterer. Best I remember, I covered about $3,000 to $4,000. I didn't pay it all at once, so I really don't remember exactly how much it was. Younger stepson and I have a cordial but much cooler relationship. He's never been super rude to me, but he's made it very clear that he doesn't like me. He has never spoken to me first in the 10 years we've known each other. If I address him and he has to answer, I get a few words as politely as he can manage. If he can pretend like he didn't hear me and avoid speaking to me at all, he will. Mostly he just ignores me as much as possible. His girlfriend, now fiance, is the same way. They've also made it clear that their future children will not call me grandma, because I'm not. I can't understand why you would want to be hurtful about hypothetical grandchildren, but I've long ago decided to just let things be between us. The only time his fiancée ever spoke to me first was when she asked me, at dinner in a crowded restaurant, how much money I intended to contribute to their wedding, because she and her mom are working out the budget. I told her the truth, which is that it hadn't even occurred to me that they might expect me to, so I hadn't really given it any thought. She asked when I might have an idea because they needed to decide on a venue and book something. I told her that they should pick their venue and plan their budget without the expectation of a contribution from me. Younger stepson then said, I told you not to ask her. She gives money according to who kisses her butt. It is true that I exchange gifts with my older stepson and his wife for holidays, but that's a two-way street. I buy them birthday and Christmas gifts, but they do the same for me. Younger stepson's dad gets him and his fiancée presents all the time. They get his dad gifts, but not me. So am I the a-hole for treating them differently because I have very different relationships with them? So stepson is suddenly family when he needs a handout. OP's stepson and his fiancée have some audacity to expect OP to contribute to their wedding, especially when stepson has made it clear he doesn't like OP and she will never be a grandma to their children. You don't treat people equally, you treat them accordingly. How they treat you should be equal to how you treat them. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Not the a-hole here. You treat them how they treat you, like they are basically strangers. You don't gift strangers money towards their weddings, so why them? Not the a-hole. Your older stepson and his wife included you in the process, and it sounds like she looked to you as a surrogate mom. It sounds like you have a lovely relationship, and it totally makes sense that you helped more. I might try to have a conversation with your younger stepson. Is there something from years ago that he's harboring resentment about? It doesn't sound like it, but I'd want to ask. If the answer is no, I'd ask him why he feels entitled to your financial support. The grandma thing is just mean and totally unnecessary to address at this point in time. What does your husband think about all this? Is he supportive of your decision? Not the a-hole. You should have corrected him. No, I spend my money on people who are actually nice, not rude people who refuse to speak with me or acknowledge me and flat out told me I'm not going to be a part of their family.